Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it. I hope you still saying hi. Drive somebody, drive weekdays. Catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. We have some breaking news here. It's been breaking for the past 2 hours, so I'm a little bit behind. But of course, I want to give you guys as much information as we have so far. There is an active monster on the loose, basically in Atlanta. There's a lot of information that has been given out. Right now, as we speak, there has been a recent update as well, which there have recently been shots fired elsewhere. Okay, not in the area in which the tragedy took place, but allegedly they just reported that there were shots fired somewhere else, and 50 cops are heading in that direction right now as we speak. Okay, so I'm still learning about this. Okay, I heard about this. I ran over here to give you guys this information, but I'm still learning about this as we are going. Okay, all I know is who the assailant is right now. I'm still trying to find out more details on what happened at this medical building. But from what I'm hearing, there's information that's floating around quite a bit. So I'm going to give you guys as much information as I can. Okay, so do me a favor, some housekeeping. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, make it scream out your name. Also, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button as well. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell, set it to all so that you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it can be random, just like this show right here. Okay, I got some other updates for you guys in the mass tragedy that happened in Texas and with the 7 bodies that were found in Oklahoma. So I have to push those aside to tell you guys this breaking story. Okay, but I will be giving you guys those updates in a little while. Okay, guys, so let us get into some things. Okay, this is this is some crazy stuff. Okay, and I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here as well. But from what I'm understanding, there was a tragedy that happened at this medical building, or in this medical building in Atlanta. From my understanding, he was in the building with his mother. Okay, and that's pretty much what I know so far. Of course, there have been many injured. One has perished so far, has succumbed to the injuries that they obtained during this tragedy. And now we know that we know his name, and we also do know that this person is still on the run right now as we speak. Okay, so don't forget to hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes. That would really, really mean a lot. Okay, as you guys start to file in. So real quick, I just want to give you guys some of these things. Okay, hold on. Oops. Okay. So this is the information that we have so far. Okay, or some of the information. So this gunman is 24 years old. His name is Dion Patterson. Okay, I've seen it spelled different ways. Okay, I've seen it spelled many different ways, but he he was there. I'm going to show you his face here in just a second. So has injured 4 people. One is gone. One has succumbed to their injuries. Okay, including his own mother. Okay, so after becoming enraged when she brought him to a medical appointment. This is pretty crazy. Now, Jason, yes, they did say that shelter in place has been lifted, but then there were shots fired down the street. So I don't know if they're going to lift that anymore. Okay. But pretty crazy, though. Cops are offering $10,000 reward for information which helps to apprehend this monster after one person has lost their life and 4 others are injured, includes his own mother being hurt and being injured in this piece. Surveillance video stills show a man wearing a face mask, pointing a weapon in what appears to be a reception area. Now, Atlanta Police Department have named the suspect's shooter as Dion Patterson. He is 24 years old. And now, of course, he is armed. He is described as armed and very, very, very dangerous. This is his face right here, guys. This is Dion Patterson. Okay. And I use the same, this is the same photo I have on my thumbnail. There's a still from the security cameras showing him walking in. So he clearly had, he has some sort of handgun or something that he stuffed into. Look at the bag. I mean, that's the only thing. It's not like he's running around with a long gun, right? With a long rifle, right? So he must have had a little handgun in his book bag there and then did this. Okay. But let me get into some of this live information that we have here too, because I think we should hear about this. And again, pretty crazy stuff. Let's
It's interesting to see what's happening behind you, Doug, as you're updating us, because, we hadn't seen really anyone on the street other than police for such a long period of time. And now we're starting to see people walking down the street as they're, choosing to leave the area. It's pretty telling when Midtown between lunch and 3:20, we didn't see anybody but police for over 2 hours. And now the first signs of people kind of milling around Midtown.
Yeah, and the police presence is still active. We saw a SWAT team truck go in the wrong lane of travel, going up the one-way street in the opposite direction the traffic's supposed to go, only about 10 minutes ago, and they were headed toward the medical center, and not toward Northside Drive necessarily. So. There's still sort of a churn of law enforcement here. But now add to that the churn of regular folks who are trying to catch up to portions of their workday or their life that they have lost over the last couple of hours while this lockdown has been underway here in Midtown.
All right. Doug, thank you. Thanks for the update. We do want to mention we've heard from APD. They understand that people are very desperate for information as you're looking at a picture of Dion Patterson, the 24-year-old suspect in this shooting that happened in Midtown, 1 dead and 4 people injured. APD is organizing a press conference to give a formal update, to share all the information that they know and perhaps talk about where they go from here. We're hearing about a possible press conference in the next few minutes. Of course, we'll take you there the moment it happens. We're expecting Chief Darren Shearbaum, Mayor Andre Dickens, and perhaps others. That is all coming together as we speak. It's been obviously important for police to just focus on the task at hand, but understanding the impact of this story and so many people being involved and being impacted, they do want to give an update, and we'll send you to that press conference just the moment they walk up to the podium.
Yeah, I mean, in the world we live in the middle of an active shooter investigation, Atlanta police are having to tweet out, we've gotten a lot of calls about this video on social media. This is not the suspect. Stop sharing it. Stop calling us. And so, obviously they're working minute by minute to get us updates, but we will hear from them shortly. Tracy Amick-Pierre is one of our reporters on the ground near Midtown. Tracy, we saw from Doug's shot a lot more people kind of going about their day-to-day business now. Roads seem to have reopened in that side of Midtown. What about where you are?
Well, certain things are returning to normal. The police tape is still up, but they're lifting up the tape to let vehicles leave. Mostly police vehicles that are leaving right now, not people leaving the actual garages. Others are walking on the street. There's actually a tree cutting crew that's now working, that's gotten underneath the tape and is actually back to business doing what they were doing before presumably all this happened, and to push them out of the area. Of course, with that press conference, I'm just waiting to hear in my ear when it starts, and you can abruptly jump off of me. But right now, all of the crew that was around us, all of the workers who were trying to get back into their buildings, they've all either left and gone home. Some of them have trickled back into their buildings. Now, as far as businesses being open, we haven't seen that happen yet. Even the Shell station across the street, which is beyond the police tape, they've been on lockdown and just had all the customers out of the store since this all went down. I ran over there just a little while ago to see what was going on. It's still locked down. There's not one customer being let in there at all. Of course, as you look behind me, you can see other people walking down the street, people who are coming out of their businesses. So many of these people just left to go to lunch in the noon hour. When they came to return back, they realized what had happened, and they were pretty much stuck with their keys inside their cars, locked. Everyone waiting in limbo. Of course, you can still hear police sirens. Police vehicles have been taking off from the scene, going in different directions. There are multiple police vehicles coming right now down Spring Street. They're stuck in the traffic that everyone else is sitting in as well. I don't know if you can even hear me over that right now. Okay. There they go. Anyway, back to you, and we'll bring you the latest information as we get it.
Now, that sounds really sticks out to us because over the course of 2.5+ hours, it's been eerily quiet in Midtown, except for that burst right before Cody Alcorn reported the potential of shots fired on Northside Drive, that 100 block, and that moment just there live with Tracy McPeer, again, that Spring Street. So something is happening, and we hope to hear some details from Atlanta Police. This is not the time to speculate. We have a verified team working feverishly right now to just confirm every little bit of information that we're putting out there. We want to make sure that what we're sharing with you is 100% accurate.
Well, and they, lifted the shelter in place in Midtown. They felt safe to do that. They felt safe, telling Atlanta Public Schools that you're okay to go ahead with dismissals. They reopened the roads within the last 30 minutes. You see people walking down the sidewalks, and then we hear sirens burst out of the silence, and Tracy's saying, oh, they can't get through the traffic. It does seem like there are just a lot of moving parts right now that police and investigators are trying to deal with. On the one hand, as Doug was telling us from the scene, they're trying to be understanding of the fact that there are thousands of people who, live and work in this area and need to go about their daily lives. And at the same time, you need to operate under the assumption that this shooter and the understanding that the shooter is still at large.
And they don't know if he's still in Midtown or if he's gotten out of there. And they have to kind of work on every scenario, right? They have to really say, okay, if he's in Midtown, what's the best case scenario? How do we keep people safe and move this investigation forward, that balance you're talking about? And if he has, in fact, left the area, if he is in fact connected to that carjacking we've been reporting about 14th Street and Williams, they have to sort of work a couple of different angles simultaneously, and you start to understand the complexity of what they're dealing with. All the while, you have 3 people in critical condition, 1 unstable at Grady Hospital, and a family in Metro Atlanta mourning the loss of someone who was killed as this has all been unfolding. There are so many moving parts.
Yeah, and exactly what you said, every now little incident that pops up has to be investigated as potentially being linked to this. Yeah. A carjacking happening in Atlanta on its own is not particularly notable, but now, it's leading to an entire different agency, Cobb County having to get involved, and a bolo set out beyond Midtown, and a couple of shots heard to be fired near Northside Drive, as Cody Alcorn is hearing from his sources. That in itself might not be something particularly significant, but now that this is happening and this suspect is at large, now they're having to look at all of these different scenes over potentially even different jurisdictions to try to piece this puzzle together. And they still want to be safe and make sure wherever the suspect is, kids are safe in schools and people are safe in businesses or in their homes. And that is a scary thing to know, that we don't know where this person is. But again, Atlanta Police just recently saying that any moment now they're going to be giving us an update So hopefully we'll have some sort of answer from them here.
My assumption, I'm going to be real. My assumption is that the next press conference that they have here, which allegedly is going to be happening here very, very soon. My assumption is that I'm going to keep it real. I think they took him down. That's what I think the next press conference is going to be covering. We just like I said earlier, there were shots that were fired. They as they were live, they were saying, okay, we now are getting reports of more shots being fired. And if then now they're going to do a press conference. I mean, this is just me, assuming, but my assumption is that they're going to tell everybody that the bad guy's gone, that he's either been apprehended or they took this man down. But we'll see what happens here. But it's still crazy, in my personal opinion. This is still devastating and wild that this even happened. And what made this man go off? What was it? And the other piece I'm trying to find out is, what was the medical appointment that he was going to? Was it for mental health? Was it just a regular routine checkup type of thing? What kind of appointment did he have that made him so upset? That's the question.
He may have come to Cobb County, letting people in Cobb County know that.
As well as the Atlanta Public Schools Police are all actively involved searching as we speak for Mr. Patterson. And here's what we know.
Wow.
We'll be able to give you some information, and others will be delivered as this investigation continues. At 12:08 this afternoon, we were called just down the street to 1110 West Peachtree. This is a medical facility, the Northside Hospital. That is at that location. This shooting did occur inside the waiting room of that medical facility, where 5 individuals were shot. Unfortunately, a 39-year-old female has lost her life. And of those that are injured is a 71-year-old female, a 56-year-old female, a 39-year-old female, and then a 25-year-old female. We do know that Mr. Patterson, our suspect, left the building. We believe he carjacked a vehicle a short distance away and was able to flee the scene as the law enforcement agencies were descending on this area. We believe he has left the area.
He ran.
He may not still be in that vehicle. So I don't want everyone to be focused on the vehicle, which has been recovered. So the photograph that has been distributed, for your viewers, your listeners, to be very mindful of that photograph. If you see this individual who may or may not still be in the same hoodie, please call 911 right away, or use Crime Stoppers to be able to provide an anonymous tip to where he may be. As the mayor said, we have a multi-jurisdictional effort underway to bring this individual to justice and ensure that we remove him from the street. Everyone consider him still armed and presenting a danger to whatever community he may find himself in at this time.
I'm very wrong, guys.
What preceded the shot?
We're just hours into this investigation. So investigators are behind us in the buildings, talking to witnesses, processing the scene as we speak. The clarity that I think that we would want to know as a city and as a society, we just don't have at this particular moment, but we'll provide it as soon as we have it.
Victims' patients, were they employees of Northside Hospital?
That is still being worked through. We weren't in a position at this time to say whether they're patients or whether they're employees or both.
The suspect have a connection that the shooter's mother is one of the victims?
We believe the vehicle has been recovered. That is correct.
Chief, can you confirm that the shooter's mother is one of the victims?
Right now, the shooter's mother was not injured in this incident.
Oh,
This is the
okay.
information we
Whether
have.
this was targeted, you said all 5 victims were women. Is it?
We just don't know. It is still too soon to know why these individuals were chosen.
Can you confirm that Chief, can you confirm that the suspect's mother is talking to you? She's been cooperative?
The family is being cooperative with us, and as other witnesses as well at the scene.
Have they shared anything about his mental health?
Nothing that we can reveal at this time.
Any priors with law enforcement?
There has been minimal contact with the Atlanta Police Department from this individual. I can report that.
Where was the vehicle found?
I can't get that out right now.
Chief, can you tell us at all about people calling in and giving tips and what that's been like so far? Because obviously you pushed the image out early. What has that been like so far with people helping?
We can. Yes. Thank you, Mayor. The mayor has been watching this manhunt unfold at our command post, and he is very aware that cameras across the city have been instrumental in us tracking this individual. He's very aware that as we get information that's called in by citizens, we're able to use the camera network to quickly go to that location even before officers arrive. So it's helpful, and we ask citizens to continue to do that. Let's call in.
And that $10,000 reward, are you guys hoping that people will be a little more active in terms of calling 911 and getting out some of
We know it will be helpful, but I can tell you the civic-minded citizens of this city are already responding. And even without that request for a reward, they're already having calls that's coming in.
Where in the medical center is the used?
We don't have that specifics yet. It was on an upper level, I believe the 11th floor of the building.
What did the White House say about this?
Chief, you mentioned that the vehicle had been recovered. Is that the only vehicle that is suspected to be involved in this incident, or are there others? We're hearing from hospital workers that there was another car that may have been involved prior to the one that was recovered.
In any vehicle that we're confident in connecting to this crime, we've already released. As that changes, we may provide other vehicle information. And we'll do that as quickly as we can.
Was the vehicle carjacked in the garage?
It was not.
Chief, you talked about the
gun was used?
Last
Can you give us any information on the gun that was used?
So right now the gun is not in the possession of law enforcement, and we're actively looking for the gun as we are the individual.
What does the White House say? What does the White House told you?
The White House just offered up their support and wanted to know if anything they could do to help in this situation. And the White House is constantly in contact with my office to, offer us support and see if we need anything.
Chief, the challenge of the initial response. Chief, the challenge of the initial response is Midtown. A high population density here. Buildings have to be searched. What was it like initially with the shot? You got to call shots fired.
I think the citizens of Atlanta saw their police department and our partner agencies in action. We went into that building and cleared every single floor. Even when information came about that the subject could have left, we were still searching for victims. We were assisting citizens out of the building that had taken shelter. And I do want to thank everyone in Midtown that honored the shelter-in-place request for their patience to allow us to do our job. This is an urban environment, so it does present challenges, but it's challenges that you saw a collective, robust response from law enforcement. But the camera network that's in this location was very helpful and did assist in the investigation.
Chief, were there hundreds of people in the building? How many people?
We won't be able to give that information.
The shooting captured on surveillance video inside the medical
Won't be able to give that at this time.
Can you
Thank you, everybody.
like to have Atlanta be the latest city in America touched by this kind of gun violence?
I will say this: our public affairs unit has been pushing out quick information to you all. We will continue to do that. Follow our social media platforms and be in contact with our website as soon as we have an updated information, be it vehicles, a new clothing description. You all will have it, and the citizens of this city will have it.
Thank you,
thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor.
Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum sharing a lot of new information. Let's just go through some of the main points. Deon Patterson here, of course, the man they're looking for. They say it happened in Northside Hospital on the 11th floor. They confirmed that investigators are talking with his family, saying the family is cooperating. We're hearing he was with his mom when this happened. We now know much more about the victims, which I think is significant and we need to talk more about. We can confirm now through Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum that a 39-year-old woman died and all the victims are women. 39-year-old woman died. 4 women injured, 3 of them in critical. Their ages are 71, 56, 39, and 25 years old. All women who were in the waiting room. The police chief said that they couldn't say whether they were employees or patients, but 5 women in the waiting room at Northside Hospital when a 24-year-old man walked in with his mother. He had a weapon. Police say he then shot. 1 woman was killed. She was 39 years old. 4 others were injured. Again, their ages 71, 56, 39, and 25 years old. You heard Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens say that after phone calls with the governor, senators, congressional delegation, even the White House, that what he's going to do next is be in touch with all of the victims' families who have been impacted by what's happened here in Atlanta today.
Now, obviously I'm going to be going back and forth from this, of course, too. But this is the information that we have right now. All of the victims, even the ones that are just injured, all of them, all 5 victims are female. All of them are women. Okay. Again, the one that has lost their life, okay, is 39 years old. She lost her life. You have 4 other women, 71, ages 71, 56, 39, and 25. All are at the hospital, hopefully healing right now. Okay. But this happened on the 11th floor of a medical building. But I'm still trying to find out exactly what this office is for. Okay. If he was going there for mental health, or if he was going there for, like I said earlier, maybe a regular, good old fashioned checkup, you know? So I'm still trying to find out about that, but still, this is still absolutely mind blowing. The mother, let's correct that, because there was an article that I read earlier saying that the mother was also injured within the 5, okay, or was among those 5 that were injured. She is not injured. In fact, she is cooperating with police right now. And this man is still on the loose. I repeat, this man is still on the loose. So I got a few things I want to read to you guys I'm going to play a little bit of this, see what's going on here. Oh, come on. But of course it does that. There we go.
It is to trivialize faith. We pray not only with our lips, we pray with our legs. We pray by taking action. And still there are those who want to convince us that this is the cost of freedom. To them, we have to say no.
That was Senator Raphael Warnock just speaking from the Senate floor not long ago, saying that he got those same messages so many parents did, saying that his children's school were on lockdown, saying thoughts and prayers are not enough. This coming from a pastor, you know, he's saying the thoughts and prayers, in fact, is a contradiction to say you're thinking and praying and not make action. Again, saying those words from the Senate floor.
The perspective from a senator, from a pastor, and most importantly, perhaps from a father whose 2 kids were on lockdown as this is happening in his home city. The press conference was very enlightening from Chief Shearbaum and Mayor Dickens. They did clarify that the shooter left Northside Hospital, left the building, and then they say that he then carjacked a car close by. They believe that car may not be recovered, that he could still be in there. They're not focused on the car, they're focused on the person. We want to send it out to 11 Alive reporter Karis Belger, who was listening in with all of us to this press conference. So many points standing out to us, Karis, 3 hours into this investigation. It's the first that we heard that the FBI and Secret Service are on the ground involved in this search and investigation.
That is just one of the updates we received, not only from Atlanta Police Chief Shearbaum, but also from Atlanta Mayor Dickens. He mentioned that this is a multi-agency effort, FBI, as you mentioned, but also local agencies, including MARTA Police, including Georgia Tech Police. Also, he said he was working in conjunction with authorities in Cobb County as well, as they are working to get all the details. I also heard from the mayor that suspect is not in custody and he is considered dangerous. He wanted to emphasize to the public, do not approach. If you do see this individual, do not approach at all. In fact, call 911.
Absolutely. I agree 110%. I do have a little bit of information here, it looks like. I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to let this live keep flowing and doing what it do. But I do want to share with you guys this information. Now, I don't know if this is 110% correct, but I do want to share this with you because it did catch my eye nonetheless. Okay. This I found to be interesting. Deion Patterson was angry at quote unquote messed up meds before taking the lives of one. Okay. Taking the life of one person and injuring 3 others. And this is according to the mother. So Atlanta, the APD released multiple images of gunmen from inside medical buildings. So, and this is, I'm just getting this right now, okay? But this is insane. He's on the run right now, guys. This guy is on the run. And haven't you noticed as of late, I mean, I don't mean to go off this tangent here. Whoops. I don't mean to go off on this tangent here really quick. But haven't you noticed that there's been a lot of on the run situations? Haven't we seen that? Like there's another mass tragedy that happened in Mojave Desert where 4 people were found gone due to succumbing to gunshot wounds in a RV. That monster is on the run as well. A lot of these assailants, a lot of these bad guys are all on the run right now. Now, I mean, obviously, there has been some new updates with the tragedy that happened in Texas. I will be doing that in a pop-up video as soon as this show is done, as soon as we're done covering this. But haven't you noticed recently there's been this a vibe, okay, a theme going on where a lot of these cats are just going on the run. And now we're seeing that all over again. Another one right here. And I'm hoping that this doesn't take a week to find this man, okay? I hope it doesn't take a week to find this guy. But I've just noticed that. This has been going on for quite a while. And it's not great, guys. It's not a good theme to have, in my personal opinion. But let's get into this article, okay? Get rid of that. Okay. So we already know the suspect, Deion Patterson, is his name. Here's his face one more time. Burn it in your brains if you live in Atlanta, okay? If you live in Atlanta, I'm praying for you guys because this man is very dangerous. He is out there. He was last seen. Oh, this is just the same photo. Come on. What the heck? Okay. He was last seen basically in all black hoodie, black pants, dark clothing. Okay. And he had like a backpack, like a brown leather backpack. Okay. Just so you guys know, I'm sure we're going to see that photo here in a second. But he was angry at his quote unquote messed up medication before he allegedly took the life of one and injured 4 others, all female, all women, by the way, at a hospital in the city. The suspect remains on the loose and a massive manhunt is underway after police warned that the 24-year-old is considered armed and dangerous. Yes, he even carjacked somebody so that he can take off. Now, is he still in that car? I don't know. Okay. Now, of course, they're saying do not approach him, which obviously is that's a safe assessment, right? So, because he's being armed and very dangerous. All right. The suspect, who has a military background, had originally attended a medical appointment at the building on Wednesday, at which he was accompanied by his mother. During the appointment, he became agitated, pulled out a weapon, and allegedly just started pulling the trigger. This is what a police source told the news network. CNN is the one that originally reported this. The damn VA gave him some messed up medication, and all he wanted was an Ativan. That's what his mother said. And that's what she said before hanging up. Okay. Heavily armed law enforcement officers rushed to the 100 or 1100 West Peachtree Street Northwest, which is a North Side hospital facility, on Wednesday lunchtime as the violence unfolded. There have been no additional shots fired since the initial incident, but we have heard, as of the reporting of this, when they put this out a little bit ago, but they said that there were shots fired just a little bit ago. Okay, just down the street. Now, I'm wondering if that had something to do with this. Okay. So this is, you guys are saying, Grateful just said Ativan is evil, pure evil, Pascal. Queen Kimberly just said, yes, Ativan is anti-anxiety medication. Yeah, that's, if he was having some sort of PTSD or etc., I could see why he would be on any type of, any type of medication for that situation, right? So there were no additional shots that were fired. Okay, we are currently aware of 5 shooting victims related to the situation. 4 have been transported to the hospital for treatment, and a 5th has been pronounced deceased on the scene. All of the victims were transported to Grady Memorial Hospital, which is a level 1 trauma center. And then, of course, these are just the photos of the assailant. And you can see it even looks like he's holding the gun right there as well. Ex-military too. So he's wearing all dark clothes, from what we can gather, like a charcoal hoodie. He's got, I don't know, tan sneakers on and black jeans, okay, or black pants. But he is still at large, y'all. It even says right here, suspect is still at large. Dr. Jansen told reporters at a press conference that 3 of the victims transported to the hospital were in critical condition, with 1 person in surgery. Image taken from a security camera showing a masked man in a hoodie carrying a bag slung across his chest were also released by APD. Okay, which is the photos that we just saw a second ago. So again, guys, this is the individual that is out on the lam right now. He is out kicking rocks in these Atlanta streets right now. Please, every person that's out here in Atlanta, I'm praying for you guys. Stay home. Keep your doors locked. Keep your head on a swivel if you're in the metropolitan area, because this man is out there and is very, 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 very dangerous. If he was able to do what he did in that office, you know for sure that he's able to do it again somewhere else. Okay? So please be careful. I'm going to play a little bit more of this too, because, you know, obviously we're still finding out more information as we go.
True.
And of course, it freezes on me. Of course it does.
Twist area at the moment. We don't know if it was a sighting, a tip. Certainly they have been flooded with tips, but we do know there is a police presence there. I've seen some tweets on social media of dozens of police officers around the Truist Park area, and potentially,
look at them. There are, look at all those officers running out of that location, crossing the street. What we don't know is they're running towards something, what they would be pursuing, all jumping in their cars, it looks like. So they are on the move. Something is happening. They are all heading out. This is as much specific movement from police that we have seen in quite some time. As tips are coming in,
something's popping off, y'all.
Responding, that's a state patrol car. A lot of jurisdictions, they are all moving out. Perhaps some new information coming in to send them into a specific location. The goal is the capture of a 24-year-old who they believe is responsible for a mass shooting in Midtown.
Look at him go. I mean, in a matter of seconds, all of these police cars, we've seen at least a dozen now, all of these police officers coming out of that Truist Park area, hopping in their cars, flipping into traffic and taking off somewhere. This is the most urgency I've seen in police since this all started unfolding this morning in this Athens Park. And here they all come. There must have been some sort of new information or tip that is.
You see how quickly they scattered? Like they jumped in those cars, popped that Huey, and are just blazing down the road. They're about, well, hopefully they're about to get their man. That's what I'm hoping right now. Okay. But something happened. They heard something, and now look at that. They still going. Damn. Yo, this is, oh man. This one's crazy.
Van, right now, more officers coming out of that location, jumping into cars and on to the next spot. They must be chasing some new information that they're getting, and further confirmation that this suspected shooter, Deon Patterson, left Midtown and perhaps is in this Cobb County area, although he's had plenty of time to travel far greater distances than Midtown to Truist Park.
And imagine how scary for the people who live and work there. You see 24 police officers sprinting. That's scary. This is video we got from a viewer inside of the Battery. I think you can see potentially some police presence there. It looks like not not a lot of people on the streets. My assumption would be they asked people to go inside and kind of lock down while I followed up whatever tip this was. Again, if you have any video and you're safe where you are, you have any photos or video that you could send us, please do on social media at 11 Alive. We appreciate you being our eyes in all of these areas as well.
And it really speaks to this being really a community search at this point, and that's what it needs to be.
Okay, let me just say this really quick. I don't understand why they lifted, and this is just my personal opinion, but I don't understand why they lifted the shelter in place if the area is a metropolitan area, if it's an urban area. You got somebody who's jumped into a car, carjacked a car, whatever. You still have an active monster on the loose doing God knows what. Again, there's his face, Deion Patterson. Okay. He is still out there. So why would you even say, oh yeah, shelter in place is lifted, everybody's fine. Bruh, he running around with a pew-pew that could even do more damage to other people. So I'm going to say this. I mean, obviously, I'm not 5-0, okay? But I'm going to say it. Please, shelter in place. If you are in Atlanta right now as we speak, okay, and you are in that metropolitan area, please shelter in place. Okay? That's all. It doesn't make any sense for you to be out here. Okay? It's just too dangerous, guys. And also, if you know Atlanta's traffic is disastrous. It's just as bad as LA traffic, okay? You want to be out there stuck with a potential monster driving around in a carjacked car who is just hopped up on whatever, angry, whatever's going on in his mind, the medication got him screwed up, whatever it is, okay? Still got that itchy trigger finger? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in the traffic either, y'all. Okay? So please be safe. But I'm going to let her speak.
An area called the intervention radiology. Now, officials couldn't give us all the details about where they were shot and what their injuries are, but officials say again, 3 of those people are in critical condition. 2 of them were actually in operating rooms as they spoke to us about maybe around 30 or 40 minutes ago. So we are getting updates and we are continuing to find some more information. Now, Grady said that they were prepared to take as many as 12 people because they had implemented their active shooter protocols. That meant clearing down a space for all trauma victims to come in, also bringing down all the personnel that they needed to assist in that area, even a chaplain if that was needed. So they said they have gone back to their regular protocols. They have now been allowing visitors back into the hospital, so they're not on any sort of lockdown, but they say they are ready because the shooter is still actively out there. They say they are ready because they are the only trauma center in the area. They are ready and prepared just in case this escalates to another level and more victims have to be sent here. In addition to that, we're told that some of the victim family members are already here and inside trying to get updates on their loved ones. Of course, we are out here trying to get more updates to see if we can find out more details about those injuries. But again, right now we're being told 3 people are in critical condition. 1 is in stable condition and was being treated in the emergency room. The 3 that are in critical condition, 2 of them are in surgery, and 1 is being treated in the intervention radiology section of this hospital. And we'll continue to bring you those more updates as we get it. And I'll send it back to you right now in the studio.
All right, Bobeth. And we heard Mayor Andre Dickens talking about working to be in touch with the.
Okay, I'm just going to pause this really quick. I know some of you guys just asked for a little bit of a recap for those of y'all who are just getting in. Again, 5 people have been hurt. 1 has passed away. 4 have been injured. Okay. There was this man right here by the name of Deion Patterson. He was in a medical building. He went there for an appointment and he was accompanied by his mother. allegedly because of whatever medication he had, something of that sort. He wasn't very happy about the medication he had. He pulls out a weapon and he unleashes on the innocent people that were in the waiting room. Okay, so now we understand that there have been, again, one person has lost their life. 4 people are in the hospital right now. One is in critical condition, if I'm correct, and three are in critical condition, and 1 is in stable condition right now. The ages go from the woman that lost her life, it was 39 years old, and the other 4 women that are still fighting for their lives in the hospital right now range from as old as 71 years old and as young as 25 years old. Okay, so this is what we know so far. This man, Dion Patterson, this monster here, is still on the loose. From the press conference we just received, or we just saw a little bit ago, we understand that he opened fire, he got loose, he ran off, he carjacked, he went and carjacked a car, hopped in it, and drove off. Now, if there's any more updates as far as that, we don't know. They didn't even describe what kind of car it was. Okay, so we don't even know the make of the car as of yet, unless they're breaking it right now. But all we do know is that this individual is still on the run. But let's play a little bit more here. Okay, just a recap.
Well, day they thought in a waiting room until someone walked in with a weapon.
Right. This and just to clarify, this is a Northside Hospital sort of satellite facility on West Beach.
Come on, use the mic.
Right, Doug.
Yes,
Doug was just
Mindy.
clarifying, it's of course Northside Hospital, the Midtown location. It's one of their locations, that Midtown location. And Doug, it was interesting to hear the police chief give the detail we'd not heard yet, that this happened in a waiting room on the 11th floor.
Yeah, and this is basically an 11-story building that is fairly new here in the West Midtown area, or in the sort of near Georgia Tech side of Midtown that has rapidly developed here over the last decade or so, and the place across the street has not. Its sense of urgency that we're seeing among security personnel here has certainly calmed down even more in the last half hour or hour than we saw 2 or 3 hours ago. It's not a focal point of the manhunt, certainly, and yet at the same time, there are still a number of police officers that are in here that are not only providing security, but also gathering additional details based on the ongoing, in order to forward the ongoing investigation. There are gusts of wind in Midtown now, which is why my eyes are watering. And at the same time, there are also there's still a substantial civilian presence as we broadcast from here. Folks walking up and down the sidewalk. Automobiles that are full of commuters that are trying to get,
He's not really saying a whole bunch. He's not saying a whole lot right there. It's kind of like, it's windy and people were driving around and we're just. He's kind of saying the same stuff. No disrespect to this reporter. I'm just saying he's kind of saying the things that we already kind of know, and he's talking about the wind. Okay, but. I'm going to go back to him and see if there's any more information he's going to give us here in a second. But Nicole, thank you so much for the 5. More incidents of people who are seeking professional help still going off. Yeah. Thank you for working so hard to keep us informed. Exactly. Okay. Even when we look at that, it's true. Even with mental health, like if he really was going into that office specifically for his mental health issues, for the medication that he needed, whatever, because of, I don't know, whatever he had going on with him, obviously, whatever he has going on with him mentally, Ativan was not going to solve it. It was much more deep than just popping a pill and him being okay. Clearly, there's something more going on here. But let me see this really quick, guys.
is that everything is now focused in Cobb County. We know a lot of you in Cobb County are watching right now from that area of Vinings, Cumberland, Truist Park. I know that is nerve-wracking. It's scary. This is the area they're focusing on. They're just asking everybody to stay calm, stay where you are. They'll communicate information as they can. But there is no doubt that the investigation has shifted out of Midtown. They're looking in Cobb. We have seen a lot of not only police presence, but police movement. And you can connect the dots that when there's movement, that's based on some information. So they are in this area around Truist Park right now, they being a lot of law enforcement.
So you see there's a lot of activity going on down there in Cobb County right now. We saw the video footage, I guess a street cam of police running towards their cars, getting into squad cars, flipping UEs, etc., trying to get out to this area. In my thoughts, this man is in that area. I mean, you can't really go that far when you got so many people keeping an eye out on you. So he might have ditched the car and went on foot here, but no matter what, you know, we might be seeing some action here very, very soon, which is it's crazy, guys.
You know, you're going to have a lot of people scratching their heads saying, well, wait a minute, where in Cobb County? They did specify they were looking in Vinings, Cumberland, Truist Park areas. We were watching the street cameras as we saw dozens of police officers and cruisers pour out at a very clipped and fast rate out of the Battery area and seem to hop into their cars and speed off. I got a text from a friend who works in the Battery and said that they were all kind of huddled in place and obviously very scared about what was happening. But, you know, if you're in Cobb County, if you're traveling in that area, you know, lock your doors. Best to be better safe than sorry. But as Cheryl said, so many different agencies on this. During the press conference with Atlanta Police, they said they had the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, MARTA, Georgia State Police, Georgia State Patrol, GBI, FBI, which we just got an email confirming that the FBI was assisting, Atlanta Public Schools Police, Georgia Tech Police, Georgia State Police. I mean, every agency in the area right now is on this and is searching for this suspect.
A reminder that we are now 4 hours past the first shots being fired on the 11th floor in a waiting room inside Northside Hospital, the Midtown location. Karis Belger joining us now. Karis, I know you were listening to that press conference. There were a lot of new details and really what we have learned in what is happening right now is really two different crime scenes. They're still processing evidence inside Northside Hospital. Midtown still very much in play. But in terms of the search, that's happening in Cobb County. There are a lot of investigative balls in the air right now.
There are. In fact, that's exactly what we heard from Mayor Andre Dickens and Atlanta Police Chief Shearbaum. Less than an hour ago, they told us that they are working with multiple agencies across the area, notably Cobb County authorities as well. Right here, we're seeing a lot of Atlanta Police and Fulton County authorities going in and out of the medical center. We're also seeing a lot of people who are only just now being able to move around, to drive through these streets. Some people trying to get their cars or find people to come and pick them up. I want to mention that Chief Shearbaum said that the shooting took place in the waiting room on the 11th floor of this medical facility. 5 women were shot, 1 deceased, a 39-year-old woman. But you have to think that there were multiple things going on inside this medical center. I did speak with someone not too long ago who was working at the time, just recently was able to get inside a car because a relative had to come get her. She said that it was so busy. And then when she realized something was happening, she just kind of had to stay in place because that's what people told her to do. So everything's still unfolding with all of this. We understand from Mayor Dickens that he's been in contact with multiple authorities, also the White House, also the Senate delegates, multiple people trying to relay information and also get information. We are hoping to get some more info at this time. I understand Atlanta Police will be giving more updates throughout the evening as well. But right now, police still processing everything and getting that evidence, and people just trying to get to some semblance of normal after what happened early this afternoon.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing, Karis, because whether you were locked in lockdown in a restaurant or your condo, and you just felt the trauma of that fear, or you're in Cobb County right now as this is unfolding in the next layer as they're focusing their search in Cobb County. I mean, this is not a day you forget, right? This is a day you remember, and there's so much more that is yet to be told in this story. We'll learn more about the 4 women in the hospital. We'll learn more about the 39-year-old woman who died, and we'll learn more about what led to the shooting inside a medical facility at lunchtime on a Wednesday afternoon in such a busy part of Midtown Atlanta, a story that the country is already talking about. This is a live perspective from the 11 Alive Sky Tracker over Cobb County right now. We are emphasizing again that the active search has moved out of Midtown. They are focused on Cobb County right now, specifically areas around Vinings, Cumberland, and Truist Park. People there told to stay put, be careful, hard to see through the trees, but you see a lot of law enforcement from, as we've mentioned, many different agencies. To recap, or if you're just joining us, Chief Shearbaum talking about Cobb being a focus. Oh, just a moment. This just happened about 15 minutes ago. This was the moment live on the air that all of these officers came running out of that building. This is right by Truist Park. They jumped in their vehicles and they just shot out of there. Dozens of vehicles, dozens of officers, whatever had motivated them to move had them moving very quickly. And this just reinforces the information we've confirmed that the search is now active and intense in this area, specifically of Cobb County.
Yeah, that was really, shocking to watch. I think since we first got on the desk as this situation was developing, that's the most urgency I've seen in some of this law enforcement. And, every time you see one of these sky tracker shots from our helicopter, that is Cobb County. I did see there seemed to be a lot of police kind of condensed in one area. I was trying to determine what that building might be. But again, Cobb County police say that they are searching in the Vinings, Cumberland, and Truist area. We did just get an email update from Atlanta Public Schools. You will recall, if you've been watching our coverage, that initially they were on lockdown, holding the students inside, and then they said Atlanta police gave them the go-ahead to start dismissals. They just sent out an update thanking parents and guardians for their patience and cooperation, saying that they are still in the process of dismissal. And because of these delays, parents should expect that their kids might be getting home a little late, particularly because some of the school bus routes may still be blocked. Now, I'd be interested to hear from some Cobb County schools. I think at this point, a lot of them are probably home already, but we haven't heard anything from Cobb County area schools yet. We have heard a little bit on social media and some from just people we know who are inside the Battery in Truist Park. They're just kind of, doing a self-imposed shelter in place, just kind of locking down and keeping the doors locked until they can get some answers from police.
From the get-go, there's been a lot of communication between different jurisdictions and a lot of support coming into Midtown First. Now all of that combined support now there in Cobb County, working together, and probably more being added. It's interesting as we are at the 4-hour and 15-minute mark that there is such an intense and specific effort in this area of Cobb County, because that's a lot of time for Deon Patterson, the suspected gunman, 24 years old, to travel, if that is what his intention or hope was to do, after police say a car was carjacked close to the location of the shooting there at the Northside Medical Facility, but that a car was recovered in Cobb County. So they're piecing together not only the timeline, but the geography, and based on whatever information is coming in moment by moment, this is the area that they're focused on. And just keep thinking about all of you there looking out your windows, perhaps seeing this happen around you at Truist Park, whether you're at home or at a business or at a restaurant. Again, that Cumberland Vinings area we're talking about, right around the Cobb Galleria right there. A really busy time. We're heading into rush hour, people coming home for the day. A lot of people, as you mentioned, maybe kids are home from school now. So thankfully, they've been able to, clear the schools in Cobb. But a waiting game to one degree, as they're just kind of thinking what's the next move to try to get Dion Patterson into custody.
And I think what's difficult about this for a lot of people.
I mean, how many of you guys think that they got him pinned right now? Like that he is like in a building right now and or he's hiding behind a bush or something like that. And they're just trying to talk him down, talk him into just silently and peacefully surrendering. That's what I'm going to ask you guys. What are your thoughts on that? You know, because I don't know. I mean, they all go flocking over there. In fact, I'm going to share this with you guys too. I'm going to let this live keep going, but man, they have footage of these guys straight up booking. They're booking it. Okay. Let me show you guys just a little bit. Just a little bit of shum. Hold on one second, guys. I had it and now, you know how it goes. Oh, come on. Where the heck did it go? Oh, there is something. Well, one, let me show you guys this. Let me show you guys this information. Where's my mouse? There we go. This information. Let's see. This is Grady Memorial Hospital Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jansen, gave us an update earlier this afternoon on the victims from this afternoon's situation. That is a weird color on the screen there. That is very odd. That's really weird because that's not at all what I see here. Wild.
No other injuries occurred that we know of, and nobody was taken to any other facility. The 4 that were brought here, 3 are critical. 1 is still in the emergency department. The others are upstairs being treated. 2 in the operating room and 1 in what's called interventional radiology.
Okay. So this is kind of the information that we have so far. That was weird. That was a weird color, because it wasn't looking like that on my screen. That was weird. But anyway, that's just some information there. Now, I was trying to find, because they just had a video of the cops just straight booking it. But I don't know where that. Oh, here it is.
That's a live look, right, Scott and Juliet? I'm talking to my producers. Okay, so we see, as we take this look on the ground now. Okay, Michael, I don't know if you're seeing the screen as well, but we can see law enforcement running across the screen there. Several law enforcement officers, which is interesting because, again, we know that shelter-in-place order, as we read the banner along the bottom of the screen, has been lifted. Yet we're seeing.
Tell me why.
Officers racing off somewhere, off camera there. I mean, I guess it's possible, Michael, that could be unrelated.
It could be.
But certainly, and we're seeing now police vehicles going in that direction as well, which is concerning, as you just said, about the fact that we know that this shelter-in-place order has been lifted. Again, this is a live look, because at first I was concerned
Look
that
at
maybe
that.
we were
They
at old video.
it.
This is live. So something is happening, obviously.
Yeah, it looks like they've identified his location and they're responding to the location. Again, I don't know why they lifted the shelter in place, because it's a very active investigation.
Exactly. Thank you. I agree. So I'm not crazy. Thank God. For once, I'm not crazy. Okay, guys? For once, I am not crazy. Okay? But yeah, that's a piece that doesn't make any bloody sense. Why lift that ish? Okay? Why lift it if you still have an active monster on the loose in a heavily populated area? It should still be shelter in place. Nobody move, not a damn place. Now, again, this was lovely Libra. Thank you so much for the information. Someone I work with told me he can see the police action outside of Waverly Galleria Hotel, Cumberland. Interesting. Now, that's interesting information as well. Okay. But
The man police say is responsible for a mass shooting inside Northside Hospital, the Midtown location.
Yeah, you're seeing right now the Battery and Truist. It seemed like they were shutting some of those roads down and police trying to make their way through. We got an update earlier from Grady about the victims. We're working to learn more about the victims. We know their families rushed over to Grady, 4 of them being treated, 1 of them in stable condition, I believe. But we do have Bobeth Yates there on the ground for us gathering information. Bobeth, what have you learned? Have there been any updates on the victims there at Grady?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, at least we heard from our Karis Belger, the reporter, saying one of those victims died at the scene. And then we're told that 4 of them were transported right here to Grady. 3 of them were in critical condition. 1 was treated in the emergency room and is in stable condition. Now, of the 3 that were in the emergency or in critical condition, they were in the operating room. 2 of them were being operated on. 1 was being treated in the radiology intervention department. Now, Grady also sent out an update saying they will provide another update just about 5 o'clock. So we're waiting for more updates on that. Now, what we do know is that all of the victims were women, and their ages range from 71 to 25 years old. In fact, we're even told that they are 71, 56, 39, and 25. Again, 3 of those victims were in critical condition here at Grady. 2 of them were actually in surgery, 1 of them being treated in the radiology intervention department. Officials have not been able to provide details on their injuries, but say they are working around the clock to try to make sure they survive their injuries from this mass shooting incident. In addition to that, at one point, Grady was placed on not a lockdown, but a mass shooting protocol situation where they stopped allowing visitors to come in. After they did that, they called in additional personnel to make sure they had all the people they needed just in case for whatever type of injury. And they also cleared out an area where they can actually bring more victims in. They said they were even prepared for as much as 12 people. And of course, they only received 4. Once more, 3 of them were in critical. 1 is in stable condition and was treated in the emergency room. The other 3 were told, again, 2 of them were in surgery, 1 being treated in the intervention radiology department. And officials say they'll provide more updates for us at about 5 o'clock. So hopefully at that point, they'll say those victims are out of surgery and are doing well and off the critical list and moving more to the stable area. So we're definitely out here holding on to the positive and waiting for those updates. In addition, we were also told that family members have arrived, that family members of some of those victims are in here getting more updates on their loved ones. But as we wait for the update from Grady, that should occur just around 5 o'clock. That's in about 30 minutes. We are all out here just holding on to hope. Again, 3 victims in critical condition here. 2 of them were in surgery, 1 being treated in the intervention radiology department. All those victims were women, age ranging from 71 to 25 years old. Sending it back to you guys.
All right, Bobeth, as you mentioned, 3 are in critical, and that can mean a variety of different things. We heard the mayor say fighting for their lives and hoping for the best, and we are hopeful for a good outcome for all of those families. Let's take a look at a map here that gives you some context to the geography we're talking about. The shooting happening at 1208 on West Peachtree Street between 12th and 13th. Just a few blocks away at Williams and 14th is where the carjacking happened. And police believe that it maybe carried this suspected gunman, to the current search area, which is in that Cobb County, Truist Park area. That's roughly 10 miles. Which, when you talk about a 4-hour time span, is a pretty short distance, if that is in fact where they believe that he may be hiding out now. 10 miles in 4 hours is not someone who's trying to go very far.
Well, that's what police implied, right? That, this carjacking happened very shortly after the shots were fired. And during that time, investigators, police were busy closing off Midtown and all of those streets and locking down businesses. And, they at that point likely hadn't known yet that he might have gotten away, this suspect. So it could be certainly a large amount of ground that has been covered. And that's why that photo that we keep putting up on your screen of this suspect, Deon Patterson, is so critical because they really need people to be on the lookout.
Now, keep in mind, a key piece of information Chief Shearbaum shared is how critical the cameras across the city have been. They've been instrumental, he said. They've been a key because there are people in rooms right now scouring over footage that maybe helps them piece together a route from the point they know the car was taken, maybe to where they are now. There are so many things happening behind the scenes and pieces that can help piece the puzzle together. And I'm just reminded of the chief specifically talking about how key the cameras have been, and perhaps that's what's leading them there to Cobb County, because that is such a general area. But also we know the public's been key in sending in piece of information if they think that they know something or see something that can lead them to, a point on a map.
Yeah, I mean, this happening in a metropolitan area such as Midtown Atlanta, it is, as we said earlier, kind of a needle in a haystack search. But on the other side of that, there are so many surveillance cameras. There are so many people with iPhones in their hands. There are so many people, on the lookout, all these surveillance cameras that are a part of Atlanta Police Department's network. Cobb County recently just expanding their flock camera program. They're doing a lot of the same. So as you mentioned, Cheryl, definitely trust that there are eyes on a lot of these cameras, and that this suspect, Deon Patterson, who allegedly took one woman's life and injured 4 others, they're looking for him. And these search areas right now, Vinings, Cumberland, Truist, Cobb County area, no official shelter in place for the schools or anything like that, but just the cautionary, heads up to keep your doors locked and keep your eyes open.
If you're just joining us, these were the first images Atlanta police shared of Deon Patterson. This is the updated photograph, which is important because there's no hood over the head or mask over the face as they search for this 24-year-old. As I look at these, high-rise office buildings at 438, the next question is going to be, what do you advise people who will be leaving offices for the day in this part of our community here in Cobb County? We'll keep you updated if we hear anything from Cobb County. The last we heard, they just asked everyone, stay where you are. And if you're not in this area around Cobb Galleria, Truist Park, Cumberland, to steer clear of it. 1, for safety, and 2, to allow all the investigators to do their work.
It is a really, really tricky time for this all to be happening. I mean, not only are people about to be out of work for the 5 o'clock rush hour, but you also have students being dropped off. I'm seeing on social media and hearing, on scanners that there are Cobb Police Department officers escorting children off of buses. Imagine being the parent and you see a police officer escorting your child off the bus because there's an active shooter, alleged murderer on the loose, and we don't know where. So definitely very concerning. And the directive right now for residents in Cobb County, in the Battery area, wherever you are, lock your doors, be safe.
We want to send it now to 11 Alive reporter John Schierick, who is near the Cobb Galleria in Cobb. John, this is really ground zero for this search right now there in Cobb County, and we're hearing from a lot of viewers who are on pins and needles wondering what's happening there and what they should do to stay safe.
This is one of the areas police are searching right now, the Galleria Center, just off of Highway 41 in Smyrna, Cobb County, Cumberland area. Police cars arrived here just within the past 30 minutes or so. They are lined up and down this street alongside these tall office buildings in the Galleria Center, just outside the Renaissance Waverly Hotel. They have been searching throughout this area. They've been searching the Battery just across I-285. They've been searching Cumberland Mall. Businesses within a couple of miles are shut down. People have been told in apartment complexes in this area to shelter in place. Police obviously don't know where this person might be, where supposedly he might have ditched a stolen car. They thought maybe it was in the Battery, one of the parking lots in the Battery at Truist Park. We have not received any confirmation that they located a stolen car yet. But right now, police are going through this area. Police cars are screaming throughout this area on Highway 41 and also on the side streets, Cumberland Parkway, and throughout the Battery area as well. So we are continuing to monitor the situation. They are not locking down this area as such. You see traffic going by in the Galleria Center. They are not withholding traffic from this area, but they do have some of the side streets locked down. There is an officer with a long gun, as you can see right there, walking to the left, from my right to left. But there doesn't seem to be a big sense of urgency right now, just that they are here and they are searching. And maybe they are completing their search. We saw a lot of police cars just leave this area in several different directions without their lights and sirens on. So obviously Cobb County Police very heavily involved in helping Atlanta police try to locate this man, this suspect, this murder suspect, this homicide suspect. And they will continue to search this area as we monitor the latest and bring it to you.
Just got some brand new information into our newsroom. 11 Alive has confirmed that this suspect, Dion Patterson, was in the Coast Guard, served in 2018. That was the last time he served as an electrician's mate, second class. The Coast Guard confirming to 11 Alive that he was discharged from active duty in January 2023.
Now, keep in mind, Dion Patterson is 29, so he joined the Coast Guard when he's 24. Oh, sorry, 24 years old. So joined the Coast Guard as an 18, 19-year-old young man. The U.S. Coast Guard has said that they are aware of the tragic incident in Atlanta. I'm reading from their statement now. Allegedly involving Mr. Dion Patterson. Our deepest sympathies are with the victims and their families. Again, Mr. Patterson, we have confirmed, was with the Coast Guard, joining in July 2018, last serving as an electrician's mate, second class. We had wondered when we'd hear more background on him. Our team is working to confirm more information about this 24-year-old suspected gunman.
And the discharge and the reason behind that happened just a few months ago in January 2023. We are seeing also Northside is adding extra protection in other campuses now as a precaution. That is according to the Gwinnett Daily Post, their local newspaper there, kind of on the ground, saying that more precaution is being added. And again, we're hearing kind of on scanners and from some parents in Cobb County that students who are being dropped off from the school buses are being dropped off with an officer in tow to make sure that everyone is safe and protected. And again, all this video you're seeing right now from SkyTracker, from the helicopter, is all the Cobb County area where this search is kind of being condensed right now.
Yeah, so many things at play here. First and foremost, this search for Dion Patterson, communicating with people in this specific area of Cobb County to keep everyone safe. They want to make sure that no one else is hurt in the process of capturing him. And also, we have 4 women in the hospital recovering right now, and one family that has lost a loved one, a 39-year-old woman. We are expecting an update from Grady Health System Chief Medical Officer Dr. Robert Jansen, perhaps in the next 15 minutes. We're expecting an update, and we're hopeful maybe an update on the condition, specifically of the 3 in critical condition, because that can mean so many different things. We had heard the mayor use the phrase fighting for their lives. We did not know the extent of their injuries other than they're in critical, and they were in the operating room at last check. So again, in about 15 minutes, we expect to get some more information on the 4 women who are currently at Grady Hospital, a level 1 trauma center that, went into their mass casualty event mode the minute this happened. At one point, they were anticipating 12 patients. They received 4, and they certainly hope they don't have to receive any more.
Yeah, and those victims, 39-year-old woman is dead. The other victims, 71 years old, 39 years old, 25, and 56 years old. We're not sure which of those was in stable condition, which were critical, but certainly looking forward to to seeing that update from Grady here. I think they said they're going to start around 5 p.m. And again, right now you're looking at video of Cobb County from the sky. We have not heard any reports of any lockdown or shelter in place, mandates being put down, but certainly a lot of people are seeing some movement there with police.
Yep.
I believe that is the Truist Park Battery area, if I'm seeing that right. This is where we saw them pour out of recently.
Yeah, I was going to say that's interesting because that construction area you see on that right side of your screen, that is exactly the location where we saw, I don't know, about 30 minutes ago, 24 officers sprinting out of that construction site and jumping in their cars. There's still some activity around that area, so it's interesting whether they're doing a sweep or perhaps got a tip and they want to check that out. No doubt they're getting a lot of tips, and then they have to go through the tedious but important task of checking to see which are credible and pursue them and just kind of piece by piece see what they can come up with.
Well, in this video that we have from Skytracker, I did see police interviewing speaking with at least some of the construction workers who are on that site. So it certainly was interesting seeing that video. I don't know if we still have the clip of all those police officers just sprinting out of that construction area. I mean, pulling even into the oncoming lanes of traffic and jetting off. Now it seems like some of them are reconvening there. You have people watching from across the street as well. Police have not said, again, why they're searching this particular area, the Cobb County area.
Obviously.
We know that there may have been a carjacking involved, that this suspect stole a car and took off, but we don't know what has led police and investigators to Cobb County specifically, and if they are able to narrow in where he may be, or if we're talking about a very generalized Cobb County, which is quite large, Cheryl, when we're talking about, searching Cobb County.
No doubt. I mean, think about, you start from a Midtown search, to a Cobb County search. We are getting a lot of video into the newsroom from our viewers who are in Cobb County, kind of watching this from different vantage points. We saw that row of 4 people at the top of the parking garage, people looking out their windows. Just a reminder from Cobb County, be safe. Make sure you're in an area that's safe.
Shelter in
we have
place,
the video
maybe?
from the moment that Savannah was talking about of the police officers running out. That's in the lower left box in your screen. This was the moment we saw a couple of.
Let me just say this really quick. Obviously, they're obviously looking in this construction site here. There's obviously a whole lot of action going on here. My thought is he ditched the car by the side of the road and ran into this construction site. And it's a very, very big construction site. Look at that. That construction site is massive. Okay. So I think what's happening here is they're going to go and search through all of that construction site to see what the heck is going on here. And to see if this Deion Patterson individual is in there. Okay. And that's the other thing. They should at least find the car. I'm assuming the reason why we saw such crazy activity when you saw all of them start booking, right? I think it's because they saw the car, or somebody, maybe there was a tip that was given, and maybe the car was ditched right here. And look how big look how big that construction site is. Okay. Like, if you just see how huge that construction site is, that guy could be anywhere inside that, possibly. Okay. So let's see what happens here.
They're receiving, having to run all over the place. You hope that a lot of the calls being made are legitimate ones and that people aren't clogging up the lines. But again, you can also call Crime Stoppers if you know anything about Deion Patterson. There's a $10,000 reward right now for any information that may help lead to his arrest.
Let's just reset for a moment. Some of you may be just coming home after a day at work, or you've picked your kids up from school. The man you see on your screen, 24-year-old 39-year-old Dion Patterson is the accused gunman in a mass shooting that happened inside Northside Hospital, the Midtown location, inside a waiting room on the 11th floor at 12:08 this afternoon, right around lunchtime. Police say that he was there with his mother and they walked in together, and they say he is the man they're looking for in the death of one 39-year-old woman, and 4 other women are currently in the hospital at Grady Hospital. 71-year-old, 56-year-old, 39 and 25-year-olds recovering now in the hospital, 3 of them in critical condition. We see officers on the roof of a building here, this live vantage point from 11 Live Sky Tracker, as the search has now moved from Midtown, where that Northside Hospital location is, to Cobb County. Again, for those of you just joining us, police confirmed that a car was carjacked a few blocks away from that Northside Hospital location soon after that shooting. They believe that the suspect then took that car into Cobb County. Cobb County does have the vehicle. They don't believe he's in it anymore. The search is focusing on him and not the car. That is what takes us to this live image there on the right side of your screen, as the search is now focused in Cobb County, specifically around the area of Truist Park and the Cobb Galleria.
Yeah, and right now, so much of the focus is on finding this gunman.
Just so you know, Nicole, and I know a lot of you guys are asking the same question. The report that was reported earlier is incorrect. The mother was not hit. She is not injured. Allegedly, she was, reporting that he wanted stronger anxiety pills, anxiety medication, and all that. So she was not harmed during this incident, but she was there when the incident went down. Okay, just so you guys know.
Sort of connection between this shooter and these 5 women. I think it's notable that they're all women. We're trying to determine what office, exactly what waiting room that was on the 11th floor. But right now we know that the alleged shooter's mother was not one of those victims, although she was there with him, and that she is cooperating with the police investigation, but still so much to learn beyond just capturing the suspect.
And I think it's so important as we continue to watch this unfold moment by moment, this search here in Cobb County happening with hundreds of law enforcement from all over the city, and including the FBI and Secret Service as we speak. But to really remember the families you were talking about, Savannah, I keep going back to what Atlanta City Council President Doug Shipman had tweeted out. The first thing he said is Atlanta is hurting today. And there are families devastated right now. Somebody's lost someone they love, a 39-year-old woman. We don't know about her family, but we know there are people who love her, and she was at the hospital today. We don't know if she was there working or there for an appointment, but she certainly wasn't there ever expecting something like this to happen at 12:08 around lunchtime on a Wednesday afternoon. And then the 4 other families that, we have heard are now with their loved ones inside Grady Hospital. A quick reminder, we are expecting an update from the CEO, the Chief Medical Officer at Grady Hospital within the next 5 or 10 minutes, hoping for an update on the conditions of the people recovering there. We will certainly get you there as soon as we can. We haven't gotten a lot of information from police, but that's understandable. What you're seeing on your screen is their focus, is the area of importance. Chief Shearbaum and Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens gave us a lot of information about an hour ago. It will be interesting to see and hear what comes out of Cobb County here in the next hour or so. Other than what we've heard is just stay where you are if you're in this area near Truist Park and the Cobb Galleria, and don't come into this area if you're not.
Yeah, and we did just confirm or hear that the Cobb County Sheriff's Office SWAT unit has been activated to support the Cobb County Police Department in their ongoing search for Dion Patterson. So now Cobb County SWAT, we're hearing Cobb County's posting that on Instagram program is now involved in this search as well. So many different departments. We know from when this first started almost 5 hours ago now, we had everyone from MARTA Police to Georgia Tech Police to the GBI, FBI, Atlanta Public Schools Police, Georgia State Police, Georgia State Patrol. I mean, who wasn't on scene here? And so there are a lot of agencies assisting in this. That also means a lot of coordination on a
This must be the truck that he carjacked. It's got to be.
Agencies, but they're trying their best to do that efficiently and then still update the public and us, the media, at the same time. But their emphasis right now seems to just be sharing this photo, which there's a reason we're keeping it up here, of Dion Patterson, because that is the suspect who is still at large. They believe somewhere in Cobb County. The assumption is this carjacked vehicle ended up in Cobb County somewhere. But again, we don't know that. We don't know if this person has ties to Cobb County. We do know now that he has some military ties. So that was some new information that we just got within the last hour.
Yes, we can confirm that he joined the Coast Guard in July of 2018. He served as an electrician's mate, second class. He was discharged from active duty in January of 2023. We don't know the specifics about why he was discharged, but we are digging on that right now. 11 Alive reporter Cody Alcorn has been working all his sources nonstop for the last few hours. Cody, any insights about where we are and perhaps where this investigation goes next?
Well, I can tell you it's a crime scene here behind me at the hospital where this shooting unfolded. I just talked to a nurse. She was not even scheduled to be here today. Someone called in, so she showed up to take over for that shift. She was just allowed back inside to get her belongings, but she did say now their office is a crime scene. Here's what she told me, how this all unfolded. I'm going to step away and let you see what it looks like behind me. She says she was in the back and heard what she described as a pop, pop. She says it stopped, and she kind of questioned herself if that's really what she heard. And then she said seconds later, she heard several more gunshots, and that's when she knew something was happening. She says another employee ran to the back and said active shooter, and they put their protocols into place. She ran straight to the front. When she got to the front of this hospital, she saw 3 victims on the ground. She told me one victim was already dead. One woman had been shot in the face. The other woman shot in her side. She says all she could do at that point was start applying pressure and just try to be there for these women until help arrived. But she does not understand why this happened. She confirmed to me what I was told by another nurse earlier, that this suspect came in with his mother to the hospital here earlier today. His mother has been questioned by police, trying to get a better idea of what happened and what caused this man, Dion Patterson, 24 years old, to pull out a gun and open fire. You have to feel awful for his mother. I'm sure this is not what she was expecting when she brought him in today. And as you mentioned, there's 5 families out there right now who got that call this morning. And for one of them, it was a call they never wanted to hear, that their loved one was killed. She did tell me that at least 2 of those 3 victims she saw in the front office here were not employees. They were just people here at the hospital. She did not know about the third, and she did not have any information on the other 2 victims. She did not see them when she came up to the front. But again, here at the hospital, it is now a crime scene. Homicide is inside. They are working this scene. It's a large one there. And again, they just escorted staff back in to get their belongings, so a lot of these people can collect everything and go home and start to unwind, because right now it's probably still not clear what all unfolded. It was a rough day for them. The nurse I talked to, as I mentioned, she wasn't even supposed to be here. It was not her assignment today. She just showed up to help out a friend, and then a mass shooting happened inside her office. The focus right now for the crews that are not here is, of course, the manhunt. And we do want to throw it back to the desk now to get ready for our newscast.
All right, Cody, thank you so much. If you are just joining us, we are following breaking news. A shooting suspect still on the loose tonight following a shooting in Midtown. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Savannah Levins.
And I'm Cheryl Preheim. Take a look at your screen. This is the suspect, 24-year-old Dion Patterson. 11 Live's Cody Alcorn reporting he originally arrived at an urgent care and family medicine facility on West Peachtree in Midtown with his mother. There were gunshots shortly before 1 p.m. One person is dead, 4 other women hurt and taken to the hospital. Again, the shooter is still on the loose right now. We have confirmed Patterson was in the U.S. Coast Guard and discharged in January of this year.
Yeah, that information from the Coast Guard coming in just within the last hour. We're working to learn why that discharge happened. And we have live team coverage spread out throughout the city tonight. We begin with John Sherrick, who is live in Cobb County, John, where this search right now is kind of being focused in on.
Much of the search is focused right now in the Cumberland, Smyrna, Battery area of Truist Park. We are at Truist Park here, as you can see, just outside the Delta parking lot outside Truist Park. And you can see Cobb County police cars are here. They are inside. What they've been doing is going through these parking decks around Truist Park, looking for possibly a car that maybe the suspect drove to this area. They had certain tips, and we're going to throw it back. We'll get back to you later on the search.
By Grady EMS to our trauma center. At the present time, one is still in the operating room. The other patient is coming out of the operating room. We have one patient who had a procedure in interventional radiology, which was completed. They will have additional studies done, and one patient remains stable in the trauma center.
Can you explain what interventional radiology means?
Sure. Certainly have certain types of injuries, particularly vascular injuries. Sometimes we're able to go to radiology rather than the operating room to repair that injury or take care of it. So it's still an invasive procedure. It's usually done under anesthesia, but it is in a different area of the hospital, not in the main operating room.
Earlier today, you
Can you repeat the condition of 4 people that were brought in?
Sure. So we had 4 people brought in by EMS. Of those, one is still in the operating room, probably the most seriously injured. Another patient just got out of the operating room and is doing well. We had a third patient who had a procedure in interventional radiology, and they will have to have additional procedures to follow up. And then the final patient is still in the trauma center, probably does not require surgery and is doing well.
Were they shot multiple times? Can you talk about where and how they were shot?
Well, I don't know how many times each one was shot. Really because of patient confidentiality, I don't want to get into the nature of the wounds. I think that would be a little unusual.
Were any of these cases particularly challenging for the surgeons?
Well, 2 of them were particularly serious, the ones that went to the operating room. And the one in the interventional radiology was in critical condition too. So all 3 of those are very serious injuries.
And can you once again describe what would make you go to the interventional radiology versus the regular trauma area?
If it's primarily an injury to the blood vessels, we're frequently able to take care of that in interventional radiology as opposed to having to open the patient up in an operating room. Interventional radiology is where you go in through the blood vessels using special catheters and are able to take care of the injury that way.
Can we talk about the flow of patients, maybe not specifically with this case, but the flow of patients coming into the ED and then moving throughout the hospital to ORs and other places?
Right. So in this particular case, as I said, Grady EMS brought all 4 patients here. They arrived within 20, 30 minutes of each other. We were already prepared in the trauma center. We had trauma surgeons, nurses, all the staff ready. So as soon as they came into the trauma center, they were put into a trauma room and were treated immediately. 2 of those were taken immediately up to the operating room. We had the operating rooms open and ready, so they went directly from the emergency department to the operating room. The other one went straight from the emergency room to the interventional radiology suite. None of them were delayed by more than any time at all because we were ready for them immediately.
For the patient who's still in the operating room, how long has that surgery been going?
It's been going a number of hours. I don't know, it's probably about 3 or 4 hours.
Were all 4 of them shot? Their injuries were all gunshot?
Yes, they were all gunshot wounds.
And you mentioned earlier this afternoon that there were at least 2 families here. Have
Yes.
4 families arrived?
I haven't checked back to the emergency department to see. Hopefully they have arrived.
So it's fair to say 3 are still
Pardon?
3 are still critical.
Yes.
And the 4th, 3 are critical, the 4th is?
The 4th is stable.
Can you talk about the next steps, what these next few hours look like for the medical teams taking care of them?
So obviously we've got to finish the surgery on the one patient who's still in the operating room. They will go to the surgery intensive care unit. The other patient who finished surgery will go to the intensive care unit. The one who went to the interventional radiology suite is in the intensive care unit. So all 3 of those are either in the intensive care unit or will be going there afterwards because they are still critically ill. They will be treated by the trauma surgeons who staff the critical care units.
And you said earlier that you were totally prepared for this. Did everything go smoothly from the hospital than anything as far as responding?
It went incredibly smoothly, and I cannot be more proud of the performance of all of the staff at Grady. From the surgeons, we had EVS ready, so we had everyone there. We had chaplains ready to deal with the patients and their families. So by the time they arrived, we were fully staffed. We had empty rooms waiting. It was absolutely seamless. I cannot be more proud of the way Grady handled this.
Thank you, guys. That's it for now. We'll keep you updated. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jansen.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Chief Medical Officer Dr. Robert Jansen talking about
Insane.
Grady Hospital being trained for these specific instances. It's a level 1 trauma center, which means the most serious cases go to Grady. They went on a mass casualty event mode, expecting 12 patients. They received 4. And you might be wondering why, when this happens in a medical facility, they get transferred to Grady. Well, that's why, because Grady is ready for these types of scenarios specifically.
At the drop of the hat, they were ready and prepared to treat up to 12 victims. They said it was 4. And that update, that we were just given, we're now hearing that one person is stable. So that's good news. One person just got out of surgery and appears to be doing well. Another is still in surgery. They kind of indicated probably a long road ahead for that person.
Sure.
And another one critical as well.
And I think that's notable because we are almost 5 hours out from the shooting and someone's still in surgery. So we're thinking about all the families and loved ones connected to these women this evening.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Midtown Atlanta, where this all started at 12:08 this afternoon. We're going to go to Cobb County instead. John Schierick is in Cobb County, where the focus of the search is right now. Police really descending on that area you're in around Cobb Galleria.
Crazy.
Right now we're at the Battery at Truist Park, and you can see behind me Cobb County police cars are here just outside the Delta parking lot next to Truist Park. They have this Battery area, Truist Park area, basically surrounded. Every exit and every entrance to the parking decks blocked by Cobb County police. They are searching these parking decks, searching for the suspect, searching perhaps for the car that maybe he took to get to this area. They believe he is in this area of Smyrna, the Battery, Truist Park, across I-285 to the Galleria Office Park and Cumberland Mall area. Police have been on both sides of 285 searching for the person that they think might be here who is responsible for the shootings in Midtown Atlanta. This area has been flooded with police, Cobb County police, for the past 60 to 90 minutes. From about the time that Atlanta police lifted the shelter-in-place order in Midtown Atlanta, that's when police began to focus their efforts here in the Smyrna area, the Cumberland area of Cobb County. Right now, there is no blockade, if you will, of any passing traffic. The areas here are not locked down as such, but police do have this area of the Battery and Truist Park surrounded as they continue to search for their suspect. And we see police cars right up and down US 41 and I-75 and 285, going to other locations where they think they might need reinforcements to pursue this search. But right now, this is the situation in Cobb County as they search for the suspect.
A lot of people in that area of Vinings, Cumberland, Truist Park, Cobb Galleria, kind of on pins and needles right now as the search is focused there. Thank you, John Schierick. 10 miles away is where everything started in Midtown Atlanta just after lunch. Karis Belger has new information in from Atlanta police. Karis?
So we heard from them a little over an hour ago, not only Chief Shearbaum with Atlanta Police, but also Mayor Andre Dickens. They say around 12:08 is when this happened. It happened in the waiting room on the 11th floor of the Northside Medical Center here in Midtown. As you mentioned, there were 5 people who were shot. One woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Right now, we have police who are just going through the streets, starting to go in and still process everything, but also still trying to direct all that backed up traffic that was here for hours. We do understand multiple agencies were involved with this effort, not just Atlanta Police, the GBI, Fulton County Sheriff. We saw multiple SWAT vehicles, also Georgia Tech Police as well. Here's a little bit of what Chief Shearbaum had to say earlier when he gave an update along with the mayor.
And this is a very active search. We are following up on credible leads that are currently active in Cobb County, as well as some that are right here in the city. We have been joined by multiple jurisdictions. We have the Sheriff of Fulton County that is here right now, that's been working alongside our department, Georgia Tech PD.
Okay. So, right now, I'm trying to find out if there's any more breaking information, any more breaking news going on with this, because clearly this is clearly it's the person is still, obviously he's still on the loose. We're still trying to find out where he is, but they're just kind of repeating a lot of the same stuff that we've already covered and talked about, or we already seen these things. But I mean, of course, I'll let it be here so that we can see this as I'm looking for more information. But yeah, this is pretty crazy. Again, we're still trying to find out if or when they're going to catch this bad guy, right? But let me see if there's any more information here. Searching for gunman who took the life of one, wounded 4 others. They've released images of the suspect, which we already know. We've already seen that a bunch of times. Senator Warnock gave a passionate speech on the Senate floor in the wake of the latest shooting to strike the nation. Okay, what he basically said it was unfolding in his own backyard. Let's see. That is nothing so far. Let's see what this says. And it is still very, very crazy. I mean, I feel like they're going to keep saying 3 injured, 3 in critical, 1 in.
Situations are improving for these victims. Now, 4 people were transported here. One of them in stable condition and was treated in the emergency room. The other 3 were in critical condition. Now, of those 3, 1 is now being released from their surgery and then being transported to the intensive care unit. Now, 2 other victims that were in critical condition, one of them still in surgery, and another one also who was treated in the radiology intensive intervention unit is also being transferred to the intensive care unit. So all the 3 critical condition people will be transferred to the intensive care unit at some point. They say they're not over the hill just yet. They said intensive care is still one of those areas where the critical things can critically turn. But again, they said the surgery went well for all of those that were in surgery, or the one that is still currently in surgery. That surgery is still going well. And what they tell me that they are proud of all of the staff here at Grady, not just because of the surgeries, but because there was a point where they had to implement their mass shooting protocols. That meant clearing out space for potential victims. That meant making sure all of the hospital personnel, from the chaplain to the surgeons, were ready to take in any kind of trauma victim. Now, take a listen of what they said to me earlier today about how they were preparing for those victims coming in.
Within minutes, we had multiple trauma surgeons, multiple staff in the trauma bay itself. We cleared out any patients who were currently in the Marcus Trauma Center, and we were fully prepared. We were anticipating up to 12 patients.
Instead of 12, they only got 4 patients. Again, of the 4, 1 is in stable condition, was treated.
Okay. Yeah. So we know this information here. Okay. Yeah, we've known this so far. There is progress. There is small progress in small updates, but they're big updates. So these 4 will survive, it looks like. Well, they say 1 is in critical condition. So we don't know. Okay. But apparently 1 took a GSW in the face. Okay. Or has a GSW in the face. And I don't know if that's the one that perished or if that's one that's in critical condition right now as we speak. But this still is a very, very sad situation. They're still looking for this monster. And they're at this construction site, at least that's from what we saw in Cobb County. They are still searching in this building right now. What's in that building? I mean, I'm assuming that there's combing through that entire place, searching high and low for this monster. Okay. But for what we know right now, this is what we know right now. There hasn't really been any big updates as of yet. All the reports that have been out here lately are just saying Atlanta police said the man was attending a medical appointment for himself when this incident occurred. Police declined to go further into any descriptions of the nature of the appointment, citing HIPAA regulations. The man's mother, who was uninjured, okay, so she was not hurt at all, is currently cooperating with police. And, they said in one of the reports that I reported earlier, they said that he was upset because I guess that building or that office prescribed him something that he wasn't happy with, I guess, or he wanted stronger meds. I don't know what it is, but he was very upset about that. And then he unleashed and just pulled the trigger on anybody that was in the room. Okay.
Proceeded like normal, and then we completed the operation. But by the time we came out, we heard that we couldn't leave the floor.
Dr. Timothy Simon says once they realized what happened, they sheltered in place. And he tells me it took hours for police to go floor by floor and room by room to clear them to leave.
I was actually in the room off to myself, and then I came up to the window, and next thing I know, they were like, put your hands up, and I was like, okay. and then I just kind of followed the directions. Yeah, they were trying to secure each floor, and so they secured the floor and tried to make sure that they accounted for anyone that was moving that they had known, and then once they did that, then they escorted us out safely.
Now, when we talked to Simons, he was actually walking down the street trying to reach where his wife was coming to pick him up. He says that his car was still in the garage, so he couldn't get to it. Now, of course, throughout the day, we talked to tons of people who were out here on this corner waiting to get back into their buildings, waiting to try to get their car keys that were inside their offices, or waiting to even reach their cars. It was hours that they stood out here waiting to hear what was going on. Had they found the shooter? Was it safe to get back in? Of course, this was all completely blocked off. No cars were passing passing through here except for police vehicles for hours and hours. Of course, that just opened up, as I said, just a few minutes before we went live. So it's a much different scene here as police are, of course, searching for the suspect and for the shooter elsewhere. This street is now completely cleared of people who were waiting around. Hopefully they all got home safe. Back to you.
Tracy, just stops you in your tracks to hear the perspective from the surgeon and all that's unfolding in that medical center as he is performing surgery.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Some heroes there.
Tracy, thank you. Cody, I want to talk to you in just a minute about some of the accounts you've heard from witnesses too, but we have an update from Northside Hospital that we want to mention, saying that Northside Medical Midtown is going to be closed tomorrow, May 4th. All patient appointments are canceled. Absolutely understandable in light of all that has happened there today.
And Cody, you've been working your sources for the past several hours trying to get us new information. Where do things stand right now? What have you learned?
Well, right now, obviously, all attention is on finding this suspect. But here behind me at Northside, it's a homicide scene. They had multiple victims, so they have quite a lot of work ahead of them. And I've talked to several nurses. I've not put the camera in their face. I'm trying to be respectful. I'm just trying to get their accounts to share with you off camera, because a lot of them were taken just in front of me here to a real estate office where they were interviewed by police for the last couple of hours. They've been released slowly, some of them getting back into Northside to get their belongings so they can head home. And one story that really hit me was a woman I saw earlier. I've kind of talked back and forth with her. I got back on the scene and she gave me her perspective. She wasn't even supposed to be at work today. One of the other nurses called in. So she showed up here at Northside. She said she was in the back of the office, and all of a sudden this morning she heard a pop and then another pop. And she said at first she didn't think that's what it could be. And then all of a sudden she heard pop, pop, pop. And she said someone ran back to her and said active shooter, and they have a code for that, and they went into protocol. She ran to the front where that waiting room was. She said when she got there, one woman was already dead. They're on the floor. She saw another woman shot in the face. An elderly woman was also shot in the side. She said all she could do at that point was to help them, apply pressure to their wounds so they could get EMS up there and get them over to Grady. And she says it's just one of those moments where it's still not set in with her. I kind of watched her kind of walk in the streets, and all of these nurses they've been hugging, and doctors. Because again, yes, the patients that were shot, that I'm told were patients, their families now are dealing with this. But for everyone in this hospital, you know, it's going to take some time to really walk through what happened and then to deal with that. And for that woman, again, she wasn't even supposed to be here today. She just was filling in for a coworker. But that's just some of the perspectives we're getting from inside this office. The other thing I heard from another nurse was that they saw the suspect and his mom walk in this morning. They said when they walked in, they had already been bickering about something. They didn't really understand what was happening. But then the next thing they know, he was firing his weapon. His mom, obviously, we've been reporting this, was not one of the victims here. She was taken out by police. She's being interviewed because what they're trying to figure out is what triggered this. What were they doing here this morning? And then how can they get him to give himself up? Because at the end of the day, they want no one else hurt, including him. Because at this point, this man has nothing left to lose, and he knows that. So a lot of investigations going on here at the same time. One, trying to figure out the background of this man. An investigation behind me. They have a homicide investigation on their hands. And then, of course, the manhunt that's underway right now. But when you talk to these nurses, again, you really get that perspective of just, you know, how scary it was. But they're heroes because they ran towards the front and they helped these victims, not knowing really what was going on. They followed those protocols. And it sounds like they did everything they could to save those patients who were shot this morning here at Northside.
Wow. I mean, you're just speechless hearing those stories. Not only are they everyday heroes, as are everyone in the medical community, but to
I mean, it's pretty crazy with the witness accounts, you know, the eyewitness accounts, the other people that were a part of it, that saw things, that heard things as well. I got a couple other things I want to show you guys here too. Real quick, because I read some of you guys' comments and everything. Jamie Foxx is okay. I know that's a little bit of a left turn, but I do want to let you guys know Jamie Foxx is okay. He recently put out a story on Instagram or something like that. He finally he's kind of finally broke his silence. I know that's a little bit of a left turn, but I do want to let you guys know that as well. Now, this was just as of a few minutes ago. Okay. Just about 7 minutes ago from Dawn White News. She says, breaking right now, Cobb Police Department has Heritage Court, I guess, Southeast and Windy Ridge Parkway closed as they search for the suspect in connection to shooting 5 women in Midtown Atlanta. Okay, so we can see right here some of the footage. Okay. Okay. Pretty crazy stuff, y'all. And I mean, I'm kind of holding out because I'm hoping that maybe we'll have some developments as far as maybe this bad guy, maybe this guy will get caught, and all that, but I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm hoping that it could be a swift turnaround here, but it looks like this looks like it could be going on for a good while. We got some more here. Hold on.
Elevator, and it wouldn't let me buzz in. I was like, there must be like a fire drill or something happening. It didn't even cross my mind.
So she left the building, returned home. Meantime, we're still seeing what appear to be hospital workers outside the building, still trying to get in, still trying to get their belongings that they had left inside. Remember this happened around lunchtime. So a lot of people were churning through the building, going in and out. These folks trying to get back in, many of them trying to get home as this drama in Midtown continues to unfold. Live in Midtown, Doug Richards, 11 Alive News.
Thank you, Doug. So it started at Northside Hospital at 12:08, 5 hours and 20 minutes later. The search for 24-year-old Deon Patterson is intense and focused in the area of Cobb.
It's really tragic, this whole situation. I mean, obviously, there really needs to be some sort of. We got a lot of work. There's a lot that we need to do. There's a lot within laws, etc., mental health, all that. There's so much work that needs to be done. And this is sad. But for right now, because unfortunately I got to hop off here. But if there is any updates on him getting caught and all that, I will be talking about that for sure. Okay. So give you guys a fair warning that there will be an update video on this when this man actually gets caught. Okay. But unfortunately I have to hop off. And I do have plans on some other videos. I have another live that I have planned on doing here in just a short while, in just a few hours from now, with the update about the 7 bodies that were found in Oklahoma. So please be sure to tune in on that. I will be on tonight about that. I'm sorry, guys. Unfortunately, I do have to hop off. I really, really do. Because right now there's not much movement going on. Not much going on. We're just repeating this. They're just repeating the same stuff that we already know. But as soon as this man gets caught, and if that's even in the next 30 minutes, I will be on to talk to you guys about that for sure. Okay. But I appreciate all y'all for being here. Again, there is a man on the loose right now. He opened fire in a medical office while his mom was with his own mama. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. But he was upset about something, allegedly about medication, according to his mother, was upset about medication and unleashed. But he had the weapon with him. Wouldn't you consider that premeditation? Wouldn't you consider that premeditated? Like he had planned to go in here and do very bad things? I think so. He knew exactly what he was going to do when he walked in there. So, yeah, we got a lot of work to do, y'all. We got a lot of work to do. It's very unfortunate. But like I said, if there's any new updates here, I will hop on with you guys and give you guys those updates when this man is actually caught. Okay. But for right now, this is all the information that we do know. And the news is kind of repeating the same stuff over and over again. So I'm going to hop off. Hopefully they find it. I'm going to be real. I hope that they find him alive. That's it. We don't need another casualty. Okay. Hopefully he's brought to justice. And that's all I care about. And again, I'm hoping that we start having these hard conversations in specific offices, okay, in specific buildings, having these serious conversations. But anyway, guys, I got to get going. Unfortunately, I'll be back on in a few hours, but please hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make a screen match your name. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Don't forget to hit that join button and set it to all so that you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it can be very random. Okay. So please do that. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to support the channel even more, by all means, hit that membership, that join button down below. Become a family member. That would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. I'll see you guys very, very soon. And if there's any updates, I'll let you guys know very soon. Okay. Okay. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next show in just a couple hours. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.